to release the vaping habit. My name is Marion Spurgeon. I'm a hypnotist and I'm also a hypnosis instructor. I work with the mind and I also work with magic, which is just another way of saying that what we do with our minds is how we channel our creativity. So, the reason for doing this session today is that I was going to make a product for pairing with my quit smoking regular stuff that I do. I wanted to have a digital download and I wanted to be able to offer it at the click of a button. And I realized that I really do enjoy having live energy most of all. Like when I'm delivering a session, I am not just reading off of a script. I'm actually connecting with a real human being who is working on making a change. And I am kind of tuning in to where that other person is, and I'm like actually working with that person. And so I'm going to see if I can replicate that by offering this live today. And also, I want you to know that the chat is open to subscribers. So if you want to chat in, you can definitely drop a comment in the chat and I will be able to see it from my streaming platform. And I'm okay with interacting at that level if that feels good to you. Before we begin, let's kind of set some in. Because I am all about intentions. So in this session, I am going to be, so this is a quit vaping session, and you need to bring the attitude that this is something that you want to do for yourself. I am not able to make anyone do anything that they don't want to do, and that's not really what I'm here for. I am here to help you to do something that you already want to do. And I'm offering this in a way that is I want you to think of this session that I'm offering as a very sweet, loving, nurturing thing that you are doing for yourself because you have come to the conclusion that this is something that you want to do. This is maybe you are realizing already that the vaping habit is it gives you some things, but it takes away other things. A lot of people have the idea that vaping is less harmful than cigarettes. Oh, hey, Scott G, thank you for checking in. It's nice to see you. Yeah, also, the other thing is, even if you are not intending to quit vaping or quit smoking, you can still use this session for engaging the nurturing, like just having self-nurturing energy, because that is, so I am making this session with a particular person in mind. And that was really what she was getting out of the vaping habit was taking time for herself, having a nurturing thing that she was doing. And so much of this session is just going to be created with that in mind. I want you to just take a moment and think about what it is that you get out of this habit. And you could maybe, if you have a piece of paper, you could write down some of the things that you get out of the habit. Maybe you like the way that it tastes or the way that it smells. Maybe you like something to do with your hands. Maybe it was something that you decided to do instead of smoking as kind of a harm reduction thing. A lot of people do switch over to vaping either because it's more convenient than smoking or because it's maybe lower impact thing to do than smoking. So just think about all the things that you get out of it and you can write it down. You can think about it consciously and unconsciously. And a lot of times, if you're actually getting ready to quit vaping, you're going to actually, as you write down some of these things that you get out of it, you're going to begin to start mentally challenging some of those things that you get out of it too. For example, I do this to care for myself, but do I really feel cared for after I do it? Or is it something that I reach for as a sort of a security blanket or a comforting device, something maybe that is a substitute for really taking care of myself or actually getting my needs met? And that is another good point, is that once you start kind of engaging in this process of thinking about what that habit is about for you, you will begin to identify some deeper needs. What are the needs that I have? I have needs. What are those needs? How can I begin to meet my needs at a deeper level? Um, so yeah, and then also I invite, if you are thinking about the things that you like about the habit, also think about some of the things that you don't like about the habit. I know for a lot of people, um, it doesn't there's the cost of it. There's also the time that it takes to do it. Of course, we all have we're going to spend time, whether it's doing that or doing something else. You could think about some of the things that you don't like it as well. I want to just go over, I had to review for myself. The Cleveland Clinic has a list of things about vaping, and I consider them a reliable source. There are some reasons why you would want to not smoke or vape. Um, the e-juice does have carcinogens like acetaldehyde and formaldehyde. Do you know what formaldehyde is? It's like that preservative that you put biological specimens in to preserve them. Ugh, it's very gross. If you've ever smelled that before, if you think about like just how toxic that smells, and then if you could like imagine intentionally bringing that into your lungs, ugh. Um, there's also other chemicals that are known to cause lung disease, such as acrolein, diacetyl, and diethylene glycol. I hope I pronounced all of those right. Also, some things that have vitamin E in them actually like is linked to lung injury. It can also contain heavy metals like nickel, tin, lead, and cadmium. And it also can contain ultrafine particles that get deep into your lungs and can cause asthma, scarring, and injury. Um, it can also cause a certain kind of bronchitis. Uh, and then also, in addition to that, can also cause organ damage. Um, I say all of this not to be scary. I don't really like focusing on what we call, in the hypnosis world, when we focus on the negative, we call that aversion. So anchoring the action to something that's really bad. But I thought it would be good to put this up front before we kind of open up to our beautiful, tender, sensitive minds, because it is worth going into this with a clear idea that smoking or vaping is not necessarily like a harmless thing to do. And if you can get that straight in your mind, it will help you to shore up your motivation to quit. For sure, for sure. And I say this again, only for people that already want to do this, not for anyone that doesn't want to do this, because I am definitely pro making your own choices about your life, health, and happiness. All right. So, I am gonna go through what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do like a little bit of a, not a too terribly long induction, because I'm not a big fan of inductions. If you're new to hypnosis, if you have any questions about what it's like to be hypnotized, the best way to enjoy hypnosis is not to worry about whether you're doing it right. Just think about the fact that wherever your mind is, there you are. So whether you listen to it and you find your mind wandering, or whether you listen to it and you find yourself in a place of total peace and centeredness, not having any mental chatter at all, or whether you find yourself drifting off into a little bit of a dreamlike state, all of those are perfectly valid ways to enjoy this trance. The effects of the trance have more to do with what you want to do with it than what you experienced during the session. It's just, you could think of this as the ritual to ratify the choice that you've already made, that you've decided that this is something that you want to do. So there will be like a beginning, middle, and end. We're just going to do the induction, and then I'm going to go through some of the things that we get from that habit. We're going to find some things that are positive and then find ways to anchor those positive feelings, to anchor that relaxation and peace. And then we're going to go through some of the stuff that we want to change, and we're going to find ways to replace those things that we want to change with something else. And then I'm going to give you something to do with the hand habit, like how to diffuse that, what that feels like in your hand, because a lot of people feel like it's a little bit of a physical habit as much as anything else. So I'm going to show you how to transform that. And then we're going to just imagine a life in the future feeling more strong, more centered, more secure, all the things that we want to do in the future. All right, so I'm going to start now. Going to get ready. Going to start now. All right, so if you're ready. I also want to say, Scott G said, acetaldehyde is also a breakdown of alcohol in your blood, is partly responsible for hangovers. So that's like a really good point to mention too as well. Yeah, just thinking about, oh yeah, I don't really want to put that into my body. That sounds nasty. Okay. I'm gonna just you can find a place where you are comfy. Just find a place to be seated or lying down, whatever's best for you. Taking a nice deep breath and exhaling any tension. Setting the intention that you're going to get exactly what you need from this session, whether you intend to quit vaping or whether you just intend to nurture yourself at a deep level. Taking a nice deep breath and exhaling any tension. And once more, taking a nice deep breath. And exhaling. In your mind's eye, put yourself in a beautiful place. You could imagine yourself in a circle, whether it is indoors or outdoors. It could be in the woods or in a beautiful outdoor place. Whatever place feels good to you, just put yourself there now. Feeling deeply connected to the earth. Feeling that earth energy coming up through your spine, through the top of your head, all the way up to the sky. And feeling it coming down around you in this beautiful, protective bubble of light. That feels so good. Each breath bringing you more and more into yourself. And it feels so good. And just take an inventory of your body. If there's anything that is feeling sticky or stuck, anything that is weighing you down, just imagine that you could bring a wand of beautiful healing light through that, whatever it is. You might even imagine that you could brush it out with your actual hand, just brushing away any tension, brushing away any pressure, allowing yourself to receive this care and attention. That's right. Now turn your attention to the vaping habit. We're just going to think about this a moment. You might even conceptualize it as this habit that you are having, that you are holding in your hand. And I want you to just take a moment and I want you to just think about the relationship that you have with this habit in your hand. Does it feel light? Or does it feel heavy? Does it feel like a compulsion that you want to pull it towards your mouth, or does it feel like something that you want to push away from you? Just take a moment and register how you feel about this habit in your hand. That's right. And just take a little bit of delight in the meta process that you're having right now. You not only get to feel things about this thing in your hand, but you also get to step outside of that and look at it. You get to step outside of your habit and you get to look at it, and you get to look at it the with the mind of a creative developmental editor. You get to see yourself doing this thing, and then you get to decide how you feel about it, and you get to decide what ways you're going to play with this energy to transform it into something that works better for you. Awesome. And you can also feel some gratitude right now for the fact that you have the opportunity to meet your needs in a deeper way now. This old habit that you have been engaging with for many reasons. Some of them were good reasons and some of them were not. But in whatever case, you can recognize now that there were some needs that were getting met, and you're going to find a way to meet these needs at a deeper level. And that's going to be super empowering. It's actually going to set you up for making a whole lot of other positive changes that are going to benefit you in ways that you may or may not even be able to predict at this moment. And that feels good. So now, as you take stock of this, I want you to just think about all the things that you used to get out of that habit. And I want you to just imagine that you could just put them in front of you, into a little pile of things right in front of you. You could imagine maybe there's like this comfort. You could imagine maybe there's this thing that you can do. Maybe it's a self-soothing exercise. Maybe it is just something that you do when you're bored. All these things that you used to get out of it, you just put them right in front of it. And now, because you get to create a new thing, we're going to just take these elements, we're going to play with them, we're going to turn them into something that you can have whenever you want, easily. Now, I know one of the things in this pile right here is that it is comforting like a blanket. So just imagine now that you could take this blanket right here and just wrap it around yourself. This big bear hug of comfort. taking this comfort in at the deepest level, holding that part of yourself that seeks comfort, and just letting that little part of yourself that needs that comfort know that you are here, that you have it, that you hold it. Just offer that part of yourself that needs comfort. Just offer that comfort now and really receive that comfort. And as you're receiving that comfort, put your hand also on your diaphragm. If you could just feel yourself take a nice deep breath while expanding your diaphragm and exhaling. Just notice as you breathe how that's such a calming thing to do. And just notice that that breath of air, that uncontaminated breath of air, that fresh breath of air, it is so sweet. That nurturing breath of air is going into your diaphragm, is relaxing you, and it is actually bringing healing energy into all of your body, into your lungs, and all throughout your mouth and your chest, your throat, your lungs, all of that healing energy just coming through that simple, unfettered breath, reveling in the fact that this breath is available to you anytime that you need it. That's right. Now, as you're feeling very calm and secure, very connected to the earth and in your happy, safe place, we're going to just take a moment. We're going to really explore. We're going to imagine that there are two ways that we could go right now. We could just continue on with this habit that we've already decided at some level that we're going to drop now. Or we could choose to do something else. And just for the sake of getting a little bit of psychological leverage, I want you to just entertain this conversation with me. I want you to just imagine that you will continue doing this habit that is, um, for all the reasons that you've decided that you do not want to do this habit. But just imagine that you do continue going down this path of vaping. Just imagine yourself walking down that path, and I want you to just imagine that you could really, as you walk step by step down this path, I want you to just think about all the things on that path that aren't great. Just think about what you're doing to your lungs. Think about the time of it. You can also maybe even make it feel a little bit heavy. I came up with another good one that this is what I would do if it were me. You know how those air fresheners that you plug in, like the Glade scents, there's kind of that nasty chemically smell that you get with artificial scents, artificial products, artificial household products that probably have a lot of the same nasty chemicals. If you can just think about that artificialness and how it's kind of not great. If you could really kind of think about what you don't like about that smell and then bring it to the cartridge. We had to just kind of create that connection that the kind of the nastiness of a cheap dollar store candle or something like that is kind of anchored into this chemically product. So now instead of experiencing it as sweet, you're kind of experiencing it as something that's a little bit acrid. Excellent, because you get to decide how you associate this too. If you can decide that you want to program in how you feel about that particular thing. You're doing this for a point because you've chosen to do this. So just kind of turn up that displeasure, just a little bit more until you've really kind of sat with the fact that this is something that you don't want to do. And once you have gotten to the point, and you might even want to just kind of ramp it up just a little bit, ramp up your dissatisfaction just a little bit, just for the point of tiring yourself out with it. Just get to the point where you're absolutely disgusted with this habit, and there is actually like kind of a high level of dissatisfaction with what you're doing, and just being totally and completely ready to drop it now. And you can take as long as you need to do that. You could even do that even more after this session is over if you feel like you need it. But I'm gonna take us back to the beginning of that path now, because we're gonna also experience the pleasure of having quit. It's gonna feel so good. I just want you to kind of see yourself at this point in time, at this point of choice. See yourself at the beginning of this path, the first step of all the rest of the time that you are going to happily have had released this habit. And I want you to just really celebrate the fact that you're doing this for yourself, that you're doing it willingly, joyfully, and wholeheartedly as you are ready. Just feeling the pleasure that you can make this change that you have set out to make. So now, having done that and having explored what it would be like to continue to vape, I want you to just go down this new path. I want you to just explore what it's like having quit. Just see how much deeper you can breathe. I want you to feel how clean the air is that you are inhaling. I want you to feel that expanded lung capacity. I want you to just feel like all of that relief, all of that pleasure, all of that joy, and all of that extra time that you have now that you're not spending it on that other thing. I want you to just really appreciate the fact that that time is yours, that you get to do what you want with it. You even um, you get to take time for yourself, whatever that means, whenever you need it. You get to decide what you do with your time. Making that choice from a perspective of self-care and self-love, feeling that self-worth, feeling that the top of your head down to the tips of your toes, and just feeling how good that feels. So just ramp up the pleasure feelings more and more and more, just feeling how pleasurable it is. How pleasurable it is to smell the smells of the earth, to smell and taste and feel the smells of the earth that are unmasked, unfettered, contaminated by the chemically smells. And I want you to just feel how good it feels to be free of that old thing that you don't want anymore. Now, once you've got all that positivity stored up and you're where you need it, you're gonna go back to the happy, safe place. Just go back to your kind of center point. Feeling good, and you can also feel that comfort blanket. If that feels good, feeling that comfort blanket around you. Knowing that you can tap into this comfort whenever you want. Now, if you have the cartridge with you, I'm gonna use a pen because I don't have a vape pen. But if you do have it with you, I want you to just take that as a prop And take it, and I want you to just put all of the stuff that you didn't like into it, all of the old associations. Maybe there's other associations that I haven't even touched on. For example, some people associate habits like this with old circumstances or old situations that were really just a unhappy thing for them, and this is a coping mechanism, for example. And so if you can like take all that stuff that you're even having to cope for and put it in that pen, put the chemicals in there, put the heavy metals in there, put the scarring of the lungs into the cartridge. You should just like imagine that you could put all the bad stuff in there. And if there's also an image that you can think of that would also help you to remember all that stuff, that would also be good. I know some people put like a little skull and crossbones or something like that to remind their subconscious mind that this is actually like inhaling poison. So as you do that, just imagine, just feel all that stuff going in there. And then I want you to just, and this is really good because in the past, you probably didn't really think about all the consequences of doing this, but now you're just putting all the consequences in here, all of the consequences living in here, in this physical reminder, in this physical object. Just feel it getting heavier and more toxic. Now, if you like, you could really cement this by bringing it towards your face only as quickly as you can compound that um, disgust with the formaldehyde or the acetaldehyde, all the other stuff that you don't want near your face. Ugh, right? So just feel the relief as you pull it away. And just bringing it closer and closer, only as quickly as you can remind yourself and intensify how much all that stuff really kind of irks you. And bringing it away from your face only as quickly as you can feel relief. That's right. Oh, that feels so much better. You can also play with that exercise a little bit more too on your own time, but I will let you do that. Just putting that down and feeling how good it feels to put that down. Feeling how you can go into the circuit board of your mind and you can actually attach the comfort, you can actually attach the pleasure, and you can actually attach the sensory experience that you want to be having with the things that you want to be doing. And I don't know what those particular things that you want to be doing are, but I imagine that you could probably bring up all of those things. Or some of those things, you could bring up certain situations where you used to do that habit. And I want you to just imagine that you could think about what you're going to be doing instead. And furthermore, if this is a habit that is ever linked with stress or needing to comfort yourself, we need to just imagine now how we're going to just anchor that comfort to something that's easy to grab, easy to access. So if there are ever any situations that used to kind of trigger that need to reach for that thing, I want you to just think about what other little thing you could do. A very easy thing to do. Because we always have our fingers, right? We always have our hands close by. This is a very discreet thing that you can do that you don't really need to worry about being in public or anything like that. You can always just touch your thumb and your forefinger together, and you can feel that comfort running through your thumb and your forefinger. And then release it. One more time, just pinching your thumb and your forefinger together. Feeling that comfort roll through your whole entire body, starting at your thumb and your forefinger. And then release it. And one more time, pinch your thumb and your forefinger and just imagine yourself in a situation that used to be stressful. And I want you to just imagine yourself now accessing this comfort. With this, it's like your own personal, um, own personal comfort thing that you can reach for whenever you need it. That comfort on cue, on tap, that's there for you. And you pinch your thumb and your forefinger together. You could imagine that it's originating from your fingers, spreading through your whole entire body. Or you could even imagine that you're just like wrapping yourself with that comfort blanket, feeling yourself so safe and secure, feeling yourself so cared for and so comforted. Just allowing yourself to receive that comfort at the deepest level. And isn't it so beautiful for you to just take a moment to realize this comfort is an experience that's created by your brain. It's not something that the habit gives you. This is not something that comes from an external source. This comfort is something endogenous. You are the maker of the comfort, of the experience of comfort. Even if you're using a tool to access the comfort, your brain is what is creating the experience of comfort, and you are the one that is experiencing the comfort. And that is a very empowering thing to realize. You get to tap into this comfort and the security. And it's easy to forget. It can be easy to forget that that is what we are doing. But when we remember that that is what we are doing, it actually allows us to break free of so many things that were keeping us stuck. I mean, I don't even know. I'm just actually kind of tuning into this right now, and I'm seeing so many other addictive patterns and behaviors that can be liberated right now with this realization. Some of those patterns might have to do with, I mean, just for example, if one wanted to reduce drinking or something like that, when I wanted to reduce or eliminate any other kind of addictive tendencies or behaviors, or even some kind of thought pattern where we're addicted to worry. I want you to just recognize that now in this beautiful place of choice, recognizing that you have this power within you to access comfort and security and peace. Just letting go anything that is not that. It feels so good. Now, I want you to just scan through your body. I want you to scan through your mind, body, spirit. I want you to see if if there are any voices that come up, if there are any parts of yourself that are not completely on board with this, or that have anything that they're kind of sticking up about. Just I want you to take time, and I want you to really listen to that, whatever that is, if there are any objections. And we're going to listen to them. We're not going to tamp them down. We're not going to argue with them. We're not going to fight them. We're not going to try to change them. We're going to actually respectfully listen to them. Listen for anything that might be coming up around this. And I want you to just make a commitment to show up for that part of yourself. As a parent would show up for a child, we don't always give our children everything that they want, but we do listen to them. And we try to understand what it is that they really need. And just offering this space right now to recognize any other needs that you may or may not have been aware of until this moment. Recognizing those needs, really taking them in, listening to them. That's right, acknowledging them, and also just having that loving parental energy that if there is a need, and you do have it within you to find a way to meet that need in an even better way. And you can do this at a conscious or an unconscious level. Whether you consciously recognize what that is or whether you unconsciously recognize this is something that continues to work out in your mind before you sleep, during your dreams, and when you are just going for a walk or when you are going about your daily life, your unconscious mind is going through all of these conscious and unconscious things. It is organizing them into something, into a new pattern that works incredibly well for you because you are the source of all of these creative solutions. All of these creative solutions that you may not have even recognized until you really took some time and sat down with yourself in order to come up with, and also to have this meeting to listen to the parts of yourself that needed to be heard. Listen to them with love and care, generously offering them this intention that you're really going to show up for them. And that feels so good. Thanking all of the parts of yourself that showed up for this. Thanking the parts of yourself that may have felt a little bit uncomfortable to recognize. Thanking the parts of yourself that were willing to sit through this process, to engage with this process, to engage with it fully, knowing that this is something that can be done with you, but it cannot be done for you because this is all about you. And just noticing if there's anyone else, any other parts that you can recognize, anything else, anyone else that needs anything around this. Just noticing that. Excellent. Now, I have a feeling right now, I have a feeling that um, most of the conscious, unconscious parts of the habit, we've touched on all of that. Now, I want you to just think about if there's anywhere where the habit lives in your body. I want you to just imagine if there's anywhere where the habit lives in your body. I want you to just imagine if you could actually see it. Where is it in your body? Is it in your hand or your shoulder or your head or some combination of those things? I want you to just imagine that it is a certain color, or maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's a tingling. And I want you to just imagine now that you have a special magic wand where you can actually just brush that old physical habit all the way out, all the way out, all the way out. And then you can even maybe break the bonds with it just by like snapping your fingers. This snapping your fingers is something that you can actually do anytime that you feel like if there's any like residual sticky or stuck energy around that, just allow yourself to just break it up by snapping your fingers, snapping your fingers, snapping your fingers. And shaking your hands. Maybe you could shake them down towards the ground. You could just feel that. Ooh, yes. Feel that energy run from the top of your head down through your hands, down into the ground. Just allowing yourself to clear out all that old physical habit. Clear it until it's all the way out. Now that you've freed yourself of that physical habit, we want you to just invite your conscious or your subconscious mind to find other things that you like to do with your hands. I don't know what this could be. I mean, this is going to be something that's unique to you, but maybe you want to um maybe you want to do something with needlework or crochet, or maybe you want to play the drum. Maybe you want to learn how to take up something that you want to do with your hands. Working with your hands is so satisfying. And one of the beautiful things about doing things with your hands is that your hands are connected to your heart. When you work with your hands, you can express your heart. So expressing that love energy through the things that you do with your hands. Finding a way to channel that energy from your heart through your hands to something that's able to express yourself. Maybe it's even just like taking up a pen and writing, right? Writing that message that's in your heart. Finding good things to do with your fingers and hands. And whatever that is, your mind can continue to come up with different options of things that you might like to try. Plants that you might like to grow, seeds that you would want to plant, art that you want to make, all the things you want to do with those hands to express your love in the world. And your mind will continue to come up with all of those things, even after this session is over. And discovering those things about yourself is going to be so fun. It's going to be like making a new friend. So just taking stock of all the stuff that you've done today, all of that good work, feeling good in yourself, feeling connected to the ground, feeling centered, and also trusting in the wisdom of your higher mind and your subconscious mind, that if there's any work that is still being done, your mind will continue to do it. Your mind is coming up with all sorts of creative solutions. Some of those creative solutions are just going to be very specific to you. And so you have all the freedom in order to create them in exactly the way that you need. Being able to hear your higher mind's creative solutions that are going to work in exactly the right way for you. And also, just setting the intention after this session to be very nurturing with yourself, be very gentle with yourself, and to really intentionally seek out some of those things that make you feel nurtured. Just feeling all that stuff settle into your nervous system, feeling that, feeling whole and complete. Not yet, but in a moment. I'm going to count from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, you can open your eyes feeling relaxed and refreshed and a whole lot better. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Opening your eyes whenever you're ready, feeling relaxed and refreshed, and a whole lot better. That was a fun ride. And thank you for going along with me on it. Always happy to hear any feedback. I would also suggest after this session to make sure to treat yourself kindly, drink lots of water, and work with some of the anchoring stuff that we did in that session too. If you need to review the session, you also have the recording that you can review. But practicing and anchoring that comfort, that care, and also like disconnecting from if there's any lingering vestiges of the physical habit, just empowering yourself to brush it out of your system. Okie dokie. That concludes this live broadcast. I am so happy that you joined me, and I will be posting more. So if you have any requests, for a session, just drop them in the comments, and I am totally open to that kind of suggestion.